Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for Monday the 24th of October going through until Sunday the 30th of October 2022. Thanks for joining me. It's such a nice day here today that I thought I'd come to the park and do this outside, so I hope the sound is okay. What I'm going to do in this horoscope, as always, I'm going to go through each day of the week to see what the planets are doing, what energy they create amongst themselves, and how you can kind of tap into that energy and use it to your advantage and make the most of all the natural positives that come up, and be aware potentially of some of the pitfalls that may be out there so that you can avoid those. Okay, so looking at this week, we've got some important stuff happening. We've got a new moon in Scorpio, which is also a partial solar eclipse. So that's a big event. It influences us for about 6 months. I'll make a separate video on that, but I'll go into some detail during this weekly horoscope. And then we have a couple of the personal planets retrograding and going direct. So Mars, the personal planet of drive and desire, that goes retrograde on the 30th of October through until the 12th of January. And then we have something going direct. Where's that? I can't find it right now. I'll go through it as I go through each day. It's okay. So overall, I noticed that this week is going to be a great week for communication. Mercury makes a lot of appearances and kind of inserts itself in situations where really it caught my attention because it's so unusual. And then the solar eclipse in itself, I think, is going to be quite tricky because the new moon is in Scorpio. That's about emotional depths and healing and really understanding the core of what's going on and usually what's problematic and what requires healing. And then this eclipse is on the south node, so it's about letting go of something which kind of rules your life or has a huge influence, and that usually requires kind of inner work, which, I don't know, it may be your favorite thing to do, but it never has been my favorite. Okay, so let's go through each day then. Monday the 24th of October, we've got the moon in Libra. The moon in Libra likes equilibrium. It likes to have things balanced out, and it likes community. It likes things to be fair, and it's considerate. It's also very good at research and making things look beautiful and amazing. It conjuncts Mercury in Libra, so your creative juices are flowing on Monday. You'll be able to articulate and express things beautifully. It squares Pluto in Capricorn, so it's this ability to get creative with your circumstances and in your thinking that allows you to make changes really easily and organically on Monday. So going with the flow on Monday is, okay, I see something, I look at it, I play it through my creative filter and see what I would want it to look like, and I'm going to go about changing that. It's like this natural wave that you can ride. The Libra moon also trines Saturn in Aquarius, so there's a good connection with information, institutions, the greater wisdom of other people. You really use that as a resource and tap into it, so there's no friction here. It also trines Mars in Gemini. Talk. Mars is desire and drive. Gemini is communication, and Gemini is the symbol of it, the glyph of Gemini. To me, looks like a doorway. So Gemini is always like, what's next? What can we discover? What can we solve? What threshold can we cross? You know, it's very much about what's next. And Mars is also, I want to do stuff. So that combination really fires you up and does allow you to work well with information, to communicate your own ideas, your own truth. And information is just really something that comes naturally, and the process of communication, something that feels comfortable. The moon then also quincunxes Uranus and Taurus and Neptune and Pisces. So that's really interesting because you don't just see a situation on face value. You look at everything in the sense of, what could this be? So you have great vision for how a person or a thing or an activity could develop in future. So Monday the 24th, I think, is a really great start to the week because you feel organized, you're enthusiastic, you have your act together, you know where you're at, you feel, like all the information is kind of settled nicely and you have your bearings and you know what you want to be doing. It's a great place of confidence and just ease. Any formal or important conversations are likely to usher in something new, so they're likely to be productive and to lead to something. If you have a type of work or a charity that you're a part of, or a sport or anything that you want to pursue, and you've always been scared of doing it, Monday the 24th of October is the day to try that kind of thing. You'll get a major kick out of it. Tuesday, the 25th of October, we've got the moon going into Scorpio at 9:18 in the morning. So we're abandoning balance and seeing the other person's point of view. And now we're diving deep into our own feelings and our own pain and our own vision for the light in the future and how wonderful it all could be. Pluto rules Scorpio, right? So Pluto is transformation and change, death and rebirth and healing. It's the end of the cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And sometimes when something ends, it feels kind of dark and sad. Yeah, it does. So none of us like that, but sometimes we have to go through these endings to then face the new beginnings. So that's what this new moon in Scorpio ushers in here on Tuesday. And it is a new moon because we do have the partial solar eclipse on the south node happening. The sun and the moon conjunct. It is a new moon in Scorpio, so the moon is pitch black and it partially blocks out the sun, so parts of the sun. A portion of the sun is covered by the moon, yes. The Scorpio moon then also conjuncts the sun in Scorpio and Venus in Scorpio, so we've got load. So the sun is your identity in Scorpio. It's very focused on your feelings and what needs to be healed. Venus in Scorpio, particularly in the area of love, you know, like if this relationship isn't working for me and it's toxic and is part of my life and it rules and governs my everyday and colors my experience, then that's the kind of thing, if it's unhealthy for you, you're going to, even if you don't want to, I feel, you'll be compelled to look at those kind of things in order to heal them. The Scorpio moon also quincunxes Jupiter in Aries and Chiron in Aries, and that's amazing because that's the power you need. You know, it's one thing saying, this is what makes me suffer and this is what hurts, but then it's another thing to say, I have the power to heal this on my own. And that's what Jupiter and Chiron in Aries bring you on Tuesday, the strength, the power required, the fuel to actually then do the healing work. Because, I mean, sometimes if you're sick as a dog and you're expected to heal yourself, it's like, I can barely like move. How am I going to heal myself? So Tuesday, that's not going to be the problem. You have this power and optimism for the future. And particularly, I can heal myself, which, I mean, is most of the battle. Mercury in Libra quincunxes Neptune in Pisces. So again, the communication planet makes you very creative and your inner voice is very loud and you keep going back to this, I see how this could be. I have a vision for this relationship or this job. I can turn it into something. Just remember that not everyone else is going to have that vision. And it's valuable, it's an asset. Do something with it if you can. Wednesday, the 26th of October, we've got the Scorpio moon now opposing Uranus in Taurus. So it's like, I don't want a lot of noise, please. I want peace and quiet so I can focus on myself and my healing. Thank you very much. It squares Saturn in Aquarius. I also don't want to be lectured or instructed, thank you. Sextiles in Pluto and Capricorn. What I do want is I want to affect change in my own life. Trines Neptune in Pisces, following the dreams I have for my life. Quincunxes in Mars, yes, I can do it. And Chiron in Aries, I can heal. I have healed in the past. I deserve to heal. If I'm suffering, that is not something I have to tolerate for the rest of my life. I don't have to live like this. Mercury in Libra trines Mars in Gemini. That's a really nice combo. Because Mercury in Libra, I'm seeing as this muse, like dancing around, inspiring everyone to paint and to express themselves beautifully. And Mars in Gemini is that courage and that confidence to say, even if my views and ideas are a little bit unique or controversial, I owe it to myself to express them if I want that. So Wednesday the 26th, communication are very much supported. So anything working with ideas, communication, talking to people, facts, figures, scientific info, those are all safe areas where you can really excel. Making big practical changes, challenging authority, or letting someone have it are all things to avoid. And the reason I say that is because the emotions are heightened anyway, and you won't have to search long to find something to get irate about. Because the question of the new moon, and here going into Wednesday, is what's with you that needs healing? And for most of us, rather than ask that question, or when that question is asked, it's much easier to say, oh, the man at the bakery cut me off and I'm annoyed about that. Because it's a distraction. So it's pointless, wasted energy, that kind of stuff. So if you can, please avoid that and be kind to yourself. It's not easy. You know, and the process of personal change is never easy either. Yeah, I remember I was at a meeting in London when I was 18 years old. And I remember saying, I just want to be happy. I'm willing to change. Was I willing to change? I thought I was. Thursday, the 27th of October, we have the Scorpio moon now. Okay, Scorpio moon for 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we're in a big chunk of the week is about your feelings and what's going on. So be willing to look into that. You'll get a lot out of it. It's not just emotional torture. You'll actually be able to heal stuff. It sextiles Pluto in Capricorn, its ruler. So Scorpio likes being together with its ruler. Sextile is a harmonious relationship. And Pluto's in Capricorn, so it says work to transform things. I give you permission and the energy. If you don't like something and you want it to be altered, here you go. Here's the muscle power and the strength to make those changes. So they're very much aligned with each other on Thursday. The moon goes into Sagittarius at 12:55 in the afternoon. So finally we're shifting out of Scorpio. Sagittarius is about adventure and doing things which make you feel alive. It can be a bit excessive in its needs and its desires. The Sagittarius moon trines Jupiter in Aries. I'm laughing because Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system and it just makes everything bigger. And I was just saying that Sagittarius is on this mission. So things shift and it's like, oh, finally I'm out of the flat and I'm going on a little adventure. I'm taking a walk. It's like I'm out of the house. I'm getting some fresh air. Interesting that I'm doing this outside today. That's the vibe, really. It's like I'm tired of healing and I think I've done enough now. I want to just go live for a bit and just live a lighter life. Mercury in Libra squares Pluto in Capricorn. So, you know, Mercury keeps inserting itself all week. And to me, that says that creativity and expressing yourself, that is a particular way of healing. That's a tool at your disposal that will aid in your healing. Oh, and this is what I mentioned what I meant when I talked about this at the very beginning here. Jupiter enters Pisces until the 20th of December, and it's not going retrograde or direct, it's just changing signs. It's an outer planet, and it goes into Pisces. It's in Aries at the moment, right? It's Monday, Jupiter in Aries. Yep. And then it goes into Pisces now on the 27th of October, and then goes back into Aries on the 20th of December. So it's not a long thing, but it's a big shift, you know, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is the last. Aries is like, let's go, let's do it. Pisces, it's like, let's wind down and let's reflect. And with Jupiter, the lucky planet, being in Pisces now until pretty much the end of the year, 20th of December, it's going to herald in or usher in this time of peace, and you're not so driven and you're not so, flogging yourself into action. I don't know if you felt this, but the last couple of weeks, I've put a lot of pressure on myself to be better and it's really resulted in me hitting the wall sometimes and saying, well, I can't do this. Like, it's beyond me. And the pressure hasn't let up. So with Jupiter going into Pisces, at the end of October here, it's a time of peace and harmony and self-acceptance. It's far less demanding. Yeah. Okay, so on Thursday the 27th, you may find that something opens up during the day that spontaneously leaves you with a bit of time on your hands. So maybe an appointment gets cancelled or something opens up is the feeling I get. And that if you do have that extra time, then please spend it doing something you enjoy. Go to the park or eat a nice lunch or visit a museum or anything that you like, because you have done all this work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's time to reward yourself a little bit. You'll get a lot out of it, I feel. Exposing yourself to other ways of thinking and seeing the world, so through art or, looking at nature or whatever, that will inspire and motivate you in your life and for your life. It will give you that confidence and drive. I can make things better and I can change them myself. Friday, the 28th of October, we've got the Sagittarius moon now opposing Mars in Gemini, which is an interesting opposition because the Sagittarius moon is the centaur saying, okay, let's go on an adventure, let's learn. And Mars in Gemini is, I feel driven to communicate. So the two of them actually work nicely together and really fire things up, but they're at odds, they're opposing each other, right? So they're 180 degrees away from each other. So it's like, do I sit here and communicate in an abstract way, or do I go and go on an adventure? And I feel both work. Both will be super satisfying. And in fact, going into the weekend here, it's very different to the rest of the week because it's much more about having these experiences and being carefree rather than looking within and doing inner healing. So I would say beginning of the week till Thursday, lunchtime, is about that theme. And then Thursday onwards till Sunday is very much about, okay, so I've done the healing now, I'm healed, what can I go and do? How can I go live? Yeah. The Sagittarius moon then squares Neptune in Pisces, trines Chiron in Aries, so it's not so interested in things that seem to be impractical. It wants to do things which are simple, make sense, and an experience particularly. Sextile Saturn in Aquarius, so you still get very on well with people and can use information and communication as a tool. And it quincunxes Uranus and Taurus. So there's still the opportunity for, serious conversations or interviews or like a serious discussion about a friendship or something to have long-term consequences and to go well. Those long-term consequences go well. They could go other ways too. And the Sagittarius moon quincunxes Uranus and Taurus. So you do want to change things up a bit. You don't want to just sit in your house all day long. You do want to have experiences. So make sure you allow for that to happen on Friday. So overall, Friday is another great day to work and to communicate with a group of people, with a team of people. Any joint efforts will go well, and also an opportunity to hang out with friends, to meet with, people who work for you or with you, accountants, lawyers. Communication is super easy and straightforward, so you're likely to come to an agreement if one needs to be made. So if you're in mediation, anything that could go either way is likely to go in your favor, and particularly because the other parties are also willing to compromise and they want an outcome. Saturday the 29th of October, we've got the Sagittarius moon opposing Mars in Gemini still. So am I coming or going? That may feel a little bit, but ultimately I think both are satisfying. So it energizes you, but I don't think it frustrates you. The Sagittarius moon squares Jupiter in Pisces, and it sextiles Mercury in Libra. So Jupiter is in Pisces now, and the connection with the Sagittarius moon says, I want to go on a spiritual adventure. And Mercury in Libra allows you to have that kind of experience. I did that this morning. I was praying, and I was like having this conversation, and I got all these responses. It was so odd. Like, do you remember those books? I read these books when I was like a teenager at school. There's certain books, like you read something and then you have a choice to make. It's like an interactive book. And then it says, okay, if you want to walk through the door, turn to page 5. And if you turn around and find another entrance, turn to page 7, for example. And the whole book is like that. So you make this series of choices and you read a different story each time, obviously. So if you do a spiritual work, I feel on Saturday the 29th, it's going to be similar to that. It's going to be very much like the response you feel and hear easily, and you can really go on a spiritual journey. And in my experience, again, the decisions I've made in those spiritual journeys have had the biggest impact on my life as it is here on planet Earth, much more than my practical decisions. The moon enters Capricorn at 3:21 in the afternoon, so now you become much more grounded and much more focused on getting things done. So I get the sense almost like, enough with all this brainstorming and like personal healing and stuff. Let's just get to work. Like, it's almost like, stop being so dramatic, which Capricorn is good at. It likes to be stoic about things. The Capricorn moon sextiles the Sun and Venus in Scorpio. Okay, so that's interesting because now that combines to say, I want to work on my relationships. I want to have like a really intense experience. I want to like be intimate with someone and really just like have like a mind-blowing experience. That becomes very important. Mercury in Libra quincunxes Jupiter in Pisces. So your fantasy and your imagination is really fired. Mercury enters Scorpio at 9:22 in the evening. So with the communication planet now going into Scorpio, you really feel things very intensely. So if there is this desire to be with other people, then Saturday the 29th, I think that overall, with the moon still being in Sagittarius as well, the sociable and adventurous energy continues until the afternoon. And then with the moon going into Capricorn in the afternoon, you'll start to remember things that need to be done on Monday. And you may start to worry about those things. So my suggestion would be to make a plan for Monday, but don't start Monday's work on Saturday, if you can help it. You won't be as productive on Saturday. And it's likely to feel odd and confusing. It's like you've been pulled in the wrong direction. So if something starts to worry you, it's like, okay, I will take care of it on Monday. I'll put it on the to-do list, but I'm not going to let it suck up my whole Saturday. I feel that's important. Sunday, the 30th of October, we've got the Capricorn moon forming a square with Chiron in Aries. So if I want to feel good about myself, I've got to be productive. I've got to do something valuable that I can be proud of. It trines Uranus and Taurus. I want to make changes, and it sextiles Neptune in Pisces. So I want the world to correspond to my inner hopes and dreams. I don't want it to just be random. I want to manifest my desires in life. Mars goes retrograde until the 12th of January 2023. So it's less about taking practical action and more about kind of sussing out what's important to you and what you want. But with all the earthy stuff on Sunday, I think the compulsion to work and to be productive, that shifts into brainstorming mode and planning for the future. But the other thing that I think is really supported here over the weekend is new relationships and hanging out with friends and meeting their friends and new people and getting to know people, which then could turn into a relationship. I really get the sense that all that intensity is there for a reason. And if you want to connect with someone, it's possible here, particularly over the weekend. Brainstorming and planning for the future, I think it'll be easiest for you to get great ideas and messages when you're out and about experiencing something new. I think you'll get more ideas rather than, again, sitting at home and having things there. So I get the vibe that that's the theme here this week. It's important to be out and about and to do things. You'll get a lot more input that way, which will help. Okay, so that's what I get for you this week. I hope you have a wonderful week. Watch out for the video on the eclipse. I'll make that soon. And if you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to order your reading with me. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology, and I combine all three. So I can draw up your birth chart by taking your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then order a chart rectification with me. That's a process where I work out your time of birth once you send me 10 life events, so big things that have happened to you. Once I have the info, I'm able to draw up your birth chart, which appears as a wheel. And I read that, and it's like a blueprint of who you are. It shows me your life purpose, your talents when it comes to work, relationships, what's destined, what you can change about it, living situation, finances, really anything that you can think of. It's this amazing roadmap. So if you have any questions about your future or your strengths and weaknesses or anything at all, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. And because I'm outside and in the park, I just want to show you what this looks like. Okay. So, just do a 360. And you know, the funny thing is that the sound was really good. It's quieter out here in the park than at my house. There we go. Okay, guys, have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you next week. All the best.